9:37. Oh, I'm supposed to put this on. I should know how to do this, because, oh, it's on. Is it on? Yep. It's green. Yep. Green means go. All right, I'm going to start the skip. We call this meeting to order at 9:38 now. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and broadcast over Lunenburg Public Access Channel. This meeting recording will be available at Lunenburg Public Access YouTube channel within 24 hours. Thank you, Kayla. All right, we have some announcements. Please join the Lunenburg Historical Society for its presentation of Nathaniel Austin, Pewterer, Loyalist or Patriot. It will be Friday, June 13th, 1 o'clock here at the Lunenburg Adult Activity Center. Learn how this 18th century Pewterer made his way to Lunenburg after the Battle of Bunker Hill in 1775 and set up his shop right here in town. Oh, please call for reservations here at 978-582-4166. Sounds like a great show. Also, there's public information and discussions, MBTA Communities Act. That's Wednesday, June 11th at 9:30 a.m. and Monday, 6/16 at 6 p.m. here at the Adult Activity Center, the main activity room. What is it? The MBTA Communities Act requires towns with a certain proximity to MBTA stations, including Lunenburg, to zone part of their community to allow for multifamily housing by right. This type of housing can help fill the missing middle, in quotes, between single-family homes and high-density apartments. What's our role? The specifics of where and how these obligations are met is community-driven. The Lunenburg Planning Board has reviewed 4 options, and we want your input on which should be chosen for implementation as a zoning change at special town meeting this fall. We have a variety of choices available. Some are likely to result in new semi-dense housing, while others allow us to get credit for the hard work the town has already done on this front. But next, on Monday, July 23rd, the Planning Board will vote on which choice will be drafted into bylaw and presented at the special town meeting. Attend to make your voice heard. So, are there any other announcements? Other than we have the privilege of having our town manager, Jen Warren Diamond, here today with us. And I don't know if you've all met her. Has she met all of you?
We did before the start of the meeting. So good morning, everybody. And I'm just so looking forward to working closely with you. And thank you for having me join you in the meeting.
All right, thank you. Do we have any public comment? Well, we have some illustrious visitors today. We have 3 folks who have applied to be on our Council on Aging, and they're sitting. We don't usually have all these people, so I'm sorry that you've been relegated to the back. But we have John Silman, we have Lou Franco, and we have Jack Rabbit. And so welcome to our meeting, and we will get to you in a little bit. So, oh, do you have any public comment? Any of the 3 of you? All right, moving on. Do we have any board comments?
So I think this is one. I've been investigating a way to help seniors as related to building permits. And my comment is to give the insight what I've been thinking and asking that perhaps if this is something the group wants to discuss and explore next meeting to be put on the agenda. But basically, it's twofold. So a lot of times when people have small repairs at home, they don't necessarily want the contractor to pull a permit because that's added cost. And a lot of times people think that's going to increase their taxes if there's improvements. But what I'm thinking is when that is a repair that's being done at a home that helps people stay home, getting a building permit is actually a protection to the homeowner. Because if you get a building permit, if that person doesn't finish the contract, for example, if you're replacing windows and they say, oh, I didn't order the windows ahead of time, give me the money for the windows, and then they never see that person again. If you have them take a building permit to replace those 2 windows, that's probably going to be about $3,000 in, depends on the type of window. If they just disappear on you, you can talk with the building inspector, and there's actually a fund in Massachusetts that will fund you. So it just creates way for that protection for seniors. And I talked with Brian Gringers recently, he's our building inspector, and he said there are other communities that do offer something of this nature to, help seniors get these small repairs done and facilitate. So it's not necessarily just the building permit, it's actually protection that, if you lost your spouse and you're home and you have a leak in your roof and you want to have that done, that does require a building permit. And having someone who can help you with adding that protection. So there's an insurance in the state of Massachusetts. So my request is, if this is something the board, would like to explore, my thought is, I'll do some more investigation what it would be like, and then I was going to tap Lou Franco, he doesn't know about this yet, to help me write the outline of what this proposal would be. And ultimately, all we need to do is to ask the select board to approve that, because the select board is the one that defines the cost of building permit. So, not to get it too much within the launch, but I have a lot more thoughts. So anyway, so if this is something the group would like to explore, I'm willing to do some of the live work with Lou Franco. Again, he didn't know that. And I'm willing to do it, and perhaps in the next meeting we can have a greater discussion about, what are the things that I haven't thought about it, and explore that conversation further. And ultimately, we'll take this in front of the select board and with that rules. But the idea is to really create protection for seniors, help them get it done. The other thing that I thought was interesting, talking with Brian Gringers, he's a wealth of knowledge. I started coming up with ideas of how about this repair? Does that require a building inspection? And he gave me so much information that if we are prompted to go get a building permit from Brian, he's going to share so much information with you that you might actually decide something else. So, for example, we're talking about the windows, heating, and installation, and he's like, oh, you can get almost all of that free. And he started talking about how to do that. So anyway, so it creates that connection too. And I think ultimately my goal is to really, I will be honest, I think it'll be really interesting for Lunenburg to create a message that we are senior friendly. The work that Lou Franco did with Tom Alonso, that, then Jack took on to, I know just by watching the assessor's office meetings, we have more people applying for abatements and more people, and that's just sharing knowledge and helping people stay in their homes. And I think this is another one that it's a double goal, which we offer protection, and we're sending the message that we're a community that cares about our seniors and wanting them to stay in their home. So that's my word comment.
Thank you.
I think it's a great idea. I think we should go forward with it.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right.
All right.
So is it okay?
Absolutely.
To put this on the agenda for next week?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any other board comment? All right, moving forward. Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes? I want to thank Pauline for a great job, by the way, on these minutes. Has everybody had a chance to read these? Do I hear a motion? A second? Any
Make a
discussion?
comment?
Yep.
On Rabbit, there's 2 T's at the end.
Oh, yes.
Very easy to fix.
Oh, yeah, you have it right in the call to order, and then down further under announcements. Ms. Rabbit noted. Okay. Any other discussion? Any other comments? So do I hear a motion for approval with this correction?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. We will approve these minutes with that one correction. All right, new business. So at the last meeting, we had a slate of officers, myself and Jane. Do we have any other officers that anybody would like to nominate at this point? All right, do I hear a motion for approval for that slate?
I make a motion that we approved Debbie and Jane for the officers for 1925-26.
Right?
Second?
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, well, thank you, everyone. Passes.
Well, thank you and Jane for.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. I wrote thank yous on here because there are a lot of people to thank. Everybody in this committee has been wonderful with coming forth with ideas, presenting hard work and dedication, but just this past month, I have a couple of things that I wanted to say thank you, particularly to Pauline, who I just thanked for these great minutes that she's been taking. Susan stepped forth and please check out the pavilion before you leave. She managed to get us some beautiful donations. Our pavilion is decorated with gorgeous flower baskets now, and she actually went and got the hangers for them, and I want to thank her, so please don't leave without checking out our beautiful pavilion now. And
Thanks also to Central Mass Garden Center, Dick's Garden Center, and Lakeview, because they all donated plants.
Oh, that's great. And I think Susan sent some thank yous, so thank you for that as well. So, I
just want to comment, small businesses in the great economy is nothing, doesn't play a lot of a GDP role for the federal government, but small businesses are amazing, and they're the ones that are the biggest supporters of communities, everywhere. So big thank you to those three businesses, and if anyone has anywhere to shop, please shop there versus a big box store, because they are the ones supporting our community.
So public thank you to our local garden centers for their contribution to making us beautiful. So thank you. And also I'd like to thank our team, which is coming up later. We have a senior advisory task force for healthcare. And I'll publicly thank them, and they're going to talk to us a little bit later. So I don't know if this is the appropriate time, but we have some retiring people from our committee who have given literally decades of their time. And we have some little thank yous for them. Judy Tarbell, with gratitude for 2 decades of service to the Lunenburg Council on Aging. She's retiring. We have a plaque for her. And Pete Lincoln, for gratitude for almost 2 decades of service to the Lunenburg Council on Aging. And we have some other things for you, and I cannot thank you enough, both of you. Judy's responsible for getting our signage out there that says,
And, to the street to come in.
yes,
Finally, after all the
finally.
meetings.
So people that don't know where our Council on Aging building is, Judy's responsible for getting that signage. Pete was our fearless leader for a long time before I took over.
9 years.
And he's still behind the scenes our leader. He prompts me in case I don't know what I'm doing. This morning he said to me, in case you don't know how to get the officers elected, this is what you need to do. So I want to thank them for their years of service, and we will miss you both.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to give you a big kiss.
I have to thank Pete because I'm the one that brought him on. And it was the best thing I ever did.
Thank you. We have some other things for you as well.
I'd just like to say that I went from serving Lunenburg as a teacher, teaching seniors, to working with seniors in this building. So I've been dealing with seniors on both ends of the age spectrum for 60 years. And when I first came on, we had an elephant burial ground in the backyard here, which was a septic system they set up before the sewage came in. And it took us about, 8 or 9 years to get that even removed.
Yeah,
And now the backyard is a gem.
gorgeous.
And I wish I didn't have to leave, but I have multiple health problems that I'm dealing with. I feel I would be letting people down if I tried to come when I wasn't feeling well. So I really enjoyed this. And I found one thing that's kind of different in the speech. I've lived through the 60s and 70s and working on the 80s now. I think we served the 60s and 70s very, very well in this town. All sorts of activities, physical activities, mental activities, exercises. I'm not so sure we served the 80s well, because the 80s people, as I said last meeting, view this place as a sanctuary. They're not looking for activities. They're looking for companionship. Most of them are widows or widowers. They've lost most of their family. And I think we need to continue to keep this a place where the very, very elderly can come and just sit and chat, just meet people their own ages and get some sense of community that they are going to have to leave as age catches up to them. So that's something, one area I think that we need to be very responsive to. That's all.
Judy, do you have anything
No.
to say?
You know, I've been here so many years, it is actually sad. I mean, I've been through a lot of wonderful people that have been on this board.
That's right.
So, and directors and everybody, so.
Well, thank you both.
And we've worked hard to
Yes.
get where we are
That's
today,
right, yeah.
believe me.
So, we thank you both, and we're very sad to see you go.
I know.
You
But I
can
have
still
health
come to
problems
meetings.
too.
And please don't be strangers, you're always welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
And there's always committee comment, public comment,
Yeah,
that's trouble.
I think in my time here, there was one public comment, one. There was a group of dancers that came to protest the fact that a dance teacher had been fired. And so they all showed up, remember that? With Mrs. Matanzi leading the group.
Oh, that was for something, yeah. but I
We want
can't
our
say.
senior center back.
Yeah, yeah.
But that was all done.
Yeah.
No, it was-
Well, you guys
We
can
did get
change
it done,
that.
what we needed to get done.
You guys can change that, make public comments. But anyway, thank you very much. We really appreciate that. We also have some new applicants to take their place. That might be an appropriate time to meet you. So, John, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Wow. I'll have to say that I really hadn't been thinking about doing this, but I got drafted by Deb over there, and we were involved doing some other things here. And since retirement, I've always had some involvement that was of community service in some way. And since getting to Lunenburg, that's fallen by the wayside. It just hadn't happened yet. So I'm very happy to be here. I've done other things like this, and I think I have a sense of it, and I'm looking forward to participating.
Lou?
It's Lou Franco. Most of you know me. I was on the select board until last year. And when I was on the select board, I was a liaison to the Council on Aging, and I made no secret of the fact that that was my favorite aspect of the job. So I want to come back, contribute more directly, be in the group, and maybe liaise in the other direction to some extent. So I have strings I can pull. No, I just enjoy it. I enjoyed coming here, and I just want to serve in a different capacity now.
Thank you. Jack?
I told the joke already. My name is John Rabbit, better known as Jane's husband, the boss. I've been in town 40 years. I've been active with the community since first moved in. We had, anybody remember the old bus stop days? And yeah, I've just served on the Conservation Commission, I've been Board of Health, just finished up as an assessor. I stepped down because I'm going to blame Deb. No.
No, please don't do that.
I think I shared this. Basically, Deb came to us and said, you know, we need help. Our seniors need help. And we were looking for, after, it was very heartfelt and it left a big impression too. And so I said, okay, this is what we need to be doing. And in the last, on the assessor board, you've seen a lot of initiatives helping the seniors, changing, lowering ages, giving things like that. And last time we met with you folks, we talked about the deferral program that allowed people to stay in their homes, not be taxed out of their homes. And I've been working with Pauline, bless her heart. She and I have created some strategies in terms of how we bring people through. And we've been piloting one of our first. And this was the more challenging because there was a bank involved, and we're asking them to take a second position with the bank. The bank to take a second position with these folks. The good news is we've just received a fax a few days ago that says congratulations. After talking to Fiona May and all these other people, we're willing to participate with you. And so now we're going through training paperwork back and forth like that. And it's my ideal that we can, through this group, get a lot more people. The numbers say we can get at least 40. Jen, it'll be okay. But the fact of it is, well, all they're doing is, a deferral is basically you're taking a lien with the town. And essentially when you decide to move along, whether it's out of your house or up there, then you have to worry about paying taxes, death and taxes, and all that. So we hope we can get this thing wrapped up in the next few weeks, and now we got a program that we can actively help people stay in their homes. And there's nothing worse than watching people. And on the board of assessors, we had the experience of seeing people who were getting hurt. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm here. The other thing is I'm a good gardener. And I noticed you need some trimming in the trees up here. And
Do not touch the milkweed, please.
I won't touch the milkweed. Are you kidding me?
Oh my
You're
God.
kidding me? You don't want to do the milkweed.
They have been coming to me in force, saying, do not touch the milkweed, the monarchs are coming.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
So,
So I would love to be able to serve and help. And even if I'm not, I realize there's really two openings. Even if not, I'm going to stay as an advocate. I'm technically an advocate now with this bank relationship, and I would continue to do the same thing. Whatever I can do to help, right? Everybody read the 5 languages of love? And I'm one of those people that wants to help. That's how I express my care. So that's it for me. Is that
Thank
okay,
you.
Jane?
Well, I also just explained that this person that you finally got, or the couple, through, all their property taxes are deferred,
Yeah.
until something, but that's a big thing,
Huge.
Yeah.
I'll add that the town is not losing anything because there's actually interest rate added to that. And I think it's about the same amount as if we were to be doing bonds, so it's actually a good deal for the town. It's not, the town is not necessarily, it will likely go into, you can still count this, it's not a write-off, it's part of our books, it's part of our assets, so it doesn't really have to do a big financial hurt on the town at all. And I'd love to have Jack as part of our meetings, but Deb runs a really tight meeting. I do not want to be here for 3 hours, okay? You're welcome to join us, but I just want to say that. We love you.
Well, if I ever like one, I will keep him under control.
I'm just saying,
Have you been given a date to go to the select board?
The 17th?
The 17th, okay, all right. I don't know what the status with Helen is. I know she's been really, really ill. Her term is not up, but if she's unable to serve, there would be 3 openings. I'm not wishing her gone at all, please don't take that.
I visited her last week after our Eva supporters meeting. I brought her some flowers from the Youth Been Flowered. And her son was there feeding her lunch, and she's just miserable.
I know, she's been very, very sick. for a
She
long
says
time.
now she's just miserable. They're hoping to get some hope with further surgery on Worcester, but
So we,
she's suffered. She just looked right on. She's, I feel bad.
we all love Helen, and she's been an amazing force for
Yes.
this group and this building and the grounds in general. She's been incredible, but I don't know if she's going to be able to continue to serve. So there may be 3 openings. I don't know that. I need to speak with Helen, but it's a possibility there's 3 openings. So just to let you know. And I'm not rushing Helen away because we all love her dearly and we know how much she's done for this school.
Took over my job, grounds, because we used to have to do it here.
Yes.
The Council of Aging used to do the grounds. I shoveled so much mulch, you wouldn't believe it.
I can remember Pete in his convertible bringing up, what did you bring up, topsoil?
Thompson, there was a big tree out front, and I had a friend of mine grind the stump, so there was a big hole out there. And of course, I didn't know about the DPW or anything, so I had my Mustang, and I put 4 or 5 pails of dirt in the back of the Mustang, and drove it up to the front, and poured it in, and filled up the hole so nobody would trip over it. It was a bit different time.
Those were the days. All right, moving on to the fiscal 27 budget. Do we have,
We do. So in your packets, you have a sheet that looks like this. It says FY '26 final, and it is your FY '27 budget. Now, at the top right, it says FY '26 final. You could actually change that to 27.
So we just did FY '26. We just approved '26, right?
FY '26, that's July.
Right. So this would be.
Oh, this is 26, yes, you're right. I'm working on 27 now.
That's correct. Everybody's starting to work on FY '27, so we're changing.
So this is 26.
So,
Okay.
Yes, this
so
is,
this is
26.
26, that's going
Yes.
to start.
Okay.
July 1st.
all right,
Yes.
so I was referring to anything that you were working on for 27.
Oh, for 27.
that we need to know about.
27, like I said, the only thing that I really have on the radar is doing a change in position as far as outreach, taking on a more role as an assistant director outreach, and then also adding a program coordinator and whatever that will look like. Other than that, I think we're fine.
Well, I mean, the programs is a line that, you know, you gotta watch it because it's good to do incremental increases.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
I'm talking about FY '27.
Yeah, and all of these will, I mean, in 27, they'll all go up a little bit because
Oh,
everything
okay.
goes up a little bit.
Yeah, and I know there was a conversation, and again, I'm talking FY '27, about programming to combine a couple positions in town. Is that still a conversation?
Yeah, so let me actually kind of use this as an opportunity, if I may, Madam Chair, to kind of explain what we were looking at as a town. That this is a little bit in somewhat of the infancy status right now. We know that we have some budgetary challenges ahead of us, and there's a lot that we have to look at that became very apparent through the last several budget cycles, right? So what staff is being tasked to do right now, which is why they're currently living in 3 fiscal years, closing out FY '25 as we begin FY '26. We're having them already start to look at FY '27 budgets much earlier in the process. The select board is working to stand up a tri-board committee with the school committee and finance committee. That has been highlighted a little bit at a couple select board meetings, school committee meeting, and actually the board chairs of those 3 boards are meeting this evening to discuss that, and I know it's going to be on FinCom's agenda for Thursday. But the thought is that we shift a lot of the work that we're doing in January, February, March to the late summer, fall months. As part of that, so we're looking at all of the budgetary needs, what is planned growth, what is needed growth, where reductions are able, where efficiencies can be found. We're really trying to push this process much earlier so that we can turn over every rock prior to being in the true crunch in the spring. As part of that process, the tri-board meetings, we're going to be asking where are areas that we know that folks want us to look at efficiencies. And one of those specific areas is working, and the department heads are all aware of it, but working between the Adult Activity Center, the library, and recreation, where all 3 are operating in a programmatic space, and there's some overlap, and there's some duplication, and there's some things that really do belong, even though we're having the same program at 2 different venues. They really do belong in 2 different venues because of the people that are going to be attending them are sometimes vastly different. But that said, I have a great example of a highlight, if you don't already know of why we need this. We had the same band booked in 3 locations in town, 3 different funding sources. The residents of Lunenburg, whether you're seeing it at the library or here, you're only going to see that band once in a short period of time. And that's what we really, as an organization, need to address so that we're not being redundant and that we're addressing the different programmatic areas in the departments where they make sense. If there's something that's truly an adult activity center program, well, that should be living here and not necessarily in another department. Is that what you were kind of getting at?
Well, I don't know what what
the
the plans are, but.
No,
that's
they'll
been
be
talking, yeah.
efficiencies
Yeah.
between those programs,
Right.
yeah.
And that is also an opportunity to, another aspect that I have thought about it, and I don't know if it was brought up, you know, we have a part-time person serving just one department who you know, is really good, then, you know, can that person serve two roles?
Yes, and I think you're speaking of the recreation director.
Right.
Right, so, on this kind of task that we've charted, and I do want to say, this is an aggressive task for folks to be doing. And I want everybody to know that what the department heads are being charged with is substantial. That said, we are looking at one of the areas of growth, is to create that, if we can, to make the recreation director a full-time position for FY '27, and how that's funded and how that operates needs to be fleshed out, but perhaps there is a role for some crossover with the programmatic.
And you know, and back to your first point is, you know, we don't have a lot of money, a lot of funds, so I didn't know the case of the band, but you know, there are some programs do serve different groups, different times. I get that, and at the same time, you know, that is what you said. Like, if someone wants to see a band, they will reach out, and also a way to accomplish that is to have better communication across these 3 boards, where, you know, I think we have spoken about trying to get more, you know, younger people participating here. You know, if we can get the programming that's being offered here with that communication informed across the entire town, you know, from parks, library, and schools, you know, that will attract more people here. And the same thing for the library. They have how they announce their programs, and it's just to their current customers. But, you know, it might be parents that might be interested. I know that the rec department has done a good job overlapping with the schools have been supportive, you know, sharing their information. So I think there's a lot there where you're gonna get more for a buck, right? Because some of these programs are being put together, and just because we don't share information efficiently across these different demographics, you know, not all people that would like to participate will be participating. So I think that's another aspect of the, you know, getting more for a buck on.
And just to add to that, the Parks and Rec, the library, and the Council on Aging met for a couple hours last night. We have monthly meetings now scheduled, so we will be working together. We will be collaborating on some of the things so that we can use our funds more wisely. We're also going to advocate for each other. Example, library had a downsizing, so we took their flyer and spread it around here because downsizing is something that really pertains to seniors a lot of times. So we are doing a lot of together, and like I said, the three of us really meshed well as far as our thoughts and ideas, and I think it's going to be great.
I'll add that the schools do have a position that is a community position, that they might be able to participate on that conversation as well. I can give you more information. I don't know the title of that position, but I know who it is, and I know where it lives in the budget. Thank you, sorry.
Thank you.
Maybe I'm the one making this meeting 3 hours.
We've never had a 3-hour meeting. All right. So if you can keep us apprised of things going on in the 27 budget, that would be great.
And the other thing we had talked about the FY27 was improving meals. Like, we don't have a meal budget. I mean,
Yeah, we do have a revolving account.
Right, but we
And-
don't have a funding source.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So like I said, we may add like a buffer,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
$5,000 buffer or something like that, so that, you know, if the meal comes to $100 and we only collect 75, that other 25 is gonna come from somewhere.
Right.
So, yeah. Okay, all right. Current business, we have financial reports from you. which
Can I
is-
ask you one question?
Yes.
On this budget, and you're listing for 2026 all the expenses, it says salaries, council on aging, and expenses, council on aging. Isn't it Eagle House?
The Council on Aging is the town department. Eagle House is the name of the building.
It's the way it's listed in our Munis system. It's the way it's coming. This is a direct download from our software.
That's been
That's confusing.
such an item of confusion that I've been trying to deal with for a long time. We are the Council on Aging, but the town department is also called the Council on Aging. So it's extraordinarily confusing.
We actually changed in this FY26 budget to,
Human Services.
it's under human services, but it's got a more generic.
Because back in, what, 1966 or something,
I know.
every town got a Council on Aging. So,
Yeah, so we went round and round about this with, and I talked with Sue at length, and what would need to happen is all the employees of this building, if we were to change the title, would all need to go before, I believe, would need to go before town meeting and get everything changed. That's what they had said when we had a committee that addressed all this, which we don't have, right? Am I right about that?
So I think that how it's called in the Munis system should not be a concern of this body.
But it's in
It
the
says-
charter.
But in the charter, so to
Yes.
change something in the charter and the bylaws, there is a process, but I don't know that it's as big of a process as a reclassification of all employees. I don't think we would need to change job descriptions other than nomenclature, so that's not a lift. But I don't think seeing it on this report should give you cause for alarm. This is just this is a software system nomenclature, I was actually pulling up how we named it.
No, but it's been a cause of concern for a long time because Director of Council on Aging, Chairman of Council on Aging, Council on Aging, that's
Gotcha.
always been confusing.
Well, no, I'm just
But that's what's your title?
director.
Director.
Director of Council on Aging.
The way, like I said,
Yeah, it's not good, and it's always been confusing, but we've always been told that we're running up against the charter, we're running up against, and we don't have a personnel board anymore, so,
Yeah,
to change titles.
I don't think the personnel board is as much of a cause of consternation for me in changing the titles. I think that in charter change, you know, there's a process that can be not insurmountable, but it takes a little time.
Right. So,
I think every town in Massachusetts, except for one little one in Western Mass, has a council on aging. It was something the state brought forth.
right.
So
that's us.
everybody has a council on aging, and like, so some don't have buildings,
Right?
so, but every council on aging has a board. But
Right.
the town department is the council on aging.
That's wherein lies the problem. We have the same titles.
Happy to continue this offline. I don't want to,
Yeah.
like, I think it's probably not as much of an issue.
No, but it is very confusing, and it's been confusing for a long time.
Okay, yeah, we can have that, we can have that conversation.
At some point. So anyway, moving along. We have financial reports in front of
We
us.
do. You have your munis report for May, but I made it a little simpler for you on the little spreadsheet. And basically, if you look at the ending balances, we are empty. So we have basically used all the money that was awarded to us at town meeting, and we're looking forward to July 1st.
All right.
So,
Well, I guess that's efficient.
yep. That's it.
All right.
That is it. Yeah, I did, it hasn't been approved or anything yet, but I did request Quicken so that I can keep track of our funding, our monies here in-house. And that way I can compare them to what the town has on record as well and keep us all on the same page. So, but other than that, we're ready to start FY '26.
Okay. Do you, the rest of the scope, the other,
Rest of,
the rest of all this, that's.
oh, it keeps going on for different things.
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, so we have a senior advisory team for Task Force for Healthcare, and I want to thank them. I was unable to meet with them, we had a medical appointment that was unavoidable, but it is Susan, it's Elena and Kathy and Pauline, and I want to thank them. They met last week, and Susan sent me a recap, a wonderful recap of what they envisioned for the team to do, and if you'd like to do
Yeah, I
that,
can
Susan,
overview it.
they
Yeah.
are remarkable already.
You have a copy of it in the back of your packet. We talked about the goal that we were trying to set up is a better understanding of healthcare system, caregiver roles, and advocacy, so that we can help reduce some of the confusion that seniors might have in assuming those roles. So after a discussion of what we wanted to include, we decided that we would recommend holding 3 lunch and learn sessions in the fall. We figured the lunch would get people here, and then the session would be targeted. Session 1 on caregiver support and advocacy, Session 2 on understanding healthcare directives, and Session 3 on interacting with the healthcare system and understanding what all the components are. So I've listed some of the things we talked about for each of those sessions. We would like to find some appropriate speakers to come in and give maybe a half-hour talk and then a half-hour question and answer period for people that come. And we also would be looking for volunteers to sponsor the lunch. Anybody else want to add anything?
I did speak with Marilyn Talley because she's from the field, she's retired now. And she said she could reach out to her agency, but they have no money. They would not be able to sponsor a lunch and learn. So she had suggested I reach out to Patty, and I can't remember her last name at the moment, over at the Highlands, or Benchmark, or
Integrity Medicare
Any of
Advisors,
those.
Blue Cross Blue
to
Shield,
see if they
Valley,
would be willing.
they would all do it.
She said, if we can't make something with them, if we could maybe ask the Eagle House supporters if they would sponsor the lunch, then her company would come in and talk. But she said, if somebody is sponsoring, they want their own people doing the talk, which makes a whole lot of sense. So I have not yet reached out to them, but I will make the first phone call. I have Patty's, Pauline gave me Patty's contact information.
I have some contacts for each other.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what we're looking for,
Yeah.
some contact names and suggestions for who might be good for these sessions.
And Pauline and I discussed maybe seeing if we could do it also in an evening hour, because a lot of caregivers, you know, do maybe a dinner at some point in time too, just so we can get others, get everybody. But these are great ideas, and like I said, to be a resource, because we've come, I mean, over the years, I came across that caregivers do not come to a caregiver support group. They don't have the time, the energy, the want, but to come for a resource is something that I think they would come to. So I think this is great.
And a lot of caregivers are just thrown into this. You didn't plan for this.
Right.
And it's a learn as you go, and it's overwhelming, and it's exhausting.
I think this will spread to other centers. I think this idea, once it gets off the ground, I think other centers will want to do it as well. I really do.
So I want to thank all of you, Pauline, Kathy.
And Elena was part of the group, but she had a medical issue, so was unable to attend.
But thank you all, this is wonderful. Anybody have any comments about this, other than thank you?
I was gonna say thank you.
I think this is amazing. All right, we'll keep up the good work, please. All right, update, does anybody have any updates on the local hospital services? I've been hearing nothing but rumors, but I haven't heard anything.
You're talking about the UMass?
Yeah, the
clinic
UMass
and,
clinic.
I think they're just seeking permissions right now.
Right, that's all I've heard. I
Yeah,
haven't heard
so-
any actual facts about anything. Okay, but I want to keep that on the agenda because I think we need to follow up on anything we know. Okay, okay. Programs that have been moved from the building and will be moving back. Do we
Yep.
have-
So we had two programs that moved from the building, the Grief Support Group with Neshoba Board of Health and Qigong. Both programs moved to the library due to scheduling conflicts. We do have a new Life After Loss group, which is a bereavement support group. This new group will be meeting here on the second Thursday of each month at 9:30, and the group will be guided by Bob Gerard, who is a hospice chaplain for Beacon Hospice. If later on in the agenda, we're going to talk about adjustment of center hours. If the hours are adjusted, then the Neshoba Board of Health will be able to return here to the center as well. So we will have two groups, one in the morning and one late afternoon. And Qigong, he can't come here any of the times that we have space for him to be here, which is why he's utilizing the community room.
So one would come back here?
Yeah. But also too with I can talk about the adjustment of hours later. Yeah.
Okay. So, you said we're having space issues.
Yes, we have basically 2 rooms or 3 if we put up a wall. So basically, you know, when you're having different things, it's hard to play pool while the Stitch and Chat people are in the same room, while exercise is in here, while the movie's going in there and they're listening to the music loud here. So there's a lot of different things that are going on, but that's going to be on me to better schedule things so that there's not a noisy event in here while a movie's going on right behind it. So like I said, that's going to be a lot of adjustment with the scheduling that's going to have to take place. But also too, I wanted to, as you can see, there's a chair, an empty chair. That chair is one of the new furniture that the library just acquired. It is a solid wood, it is bleachable, washable, and very sturdy and has arms. My idea is to the front entryway, there's basically 2 love seats and 2 chairs, which can fit 6 people. If we were to put 4
You
tables.
mean Bucky's Corner,
Yes,
for those of us that.
yeah, right in the front with the windows, yeah. So basically, if we were to put 3 or 4 tables, we would be able to have 12 people there instead of 6 or 4. Because a lot of times if somebody's on the love seat, there's only room for 1 person on the love seat. So this way we'd be able to have 12 people, which I think would absolutely bring in community. Because you'd have a place to come sit, you'd have a place to write, you'd have a place to put your computer, you'd have a place to grab a muffin, grab a coffee, sit down, and it's a comfortable, they could play cards together, they could play cribbage together, they could do numerous things together. I'm just looking at my notes here because I know I'm forgetting something. Senior-friendly, comfortable, functional tables and chairs. Space would allow for 16 individuals to sit and have coffee, eat muffins, use their devices, play cribbage, cards. Currently, the seating is 4 to 6 individuals. Having the tables would allow for more socialization and more programming. We had an event in here, an event in the other room, and then we had a third event that we actually set up banquet tables in that area. It would make it easier for seniors to enjoy each other's company. They could come and just hang out and sit down. The chairs have arms, so they're easy to get out of, where the couches aren't necessarily easy to get out of. Also, the tables and chairs are washable and bleachable, which would keep the area clean and sanitary. Because right now, somebody has an accident or leakage or whatever it is, or spills their coffee. Recently we've had individuals stuffing Kleenexes down the sides of the cushions. So it's not a very sanitary space for our seniors to come and enjoy each other. So that was one of the ideas that we had in order to have it be more of a community drop-in, where you can drop in, and right now it's set up that you basically come to something. I want people to be able to come and sit down, have a coffee, enjoy each other, and spend some time. So that was nice.
I have a comment about that.
Mhm.
I was just talking about the very elderly.
Mhm.
They don't come here for activities, they come here for companionship. I would not want to sit in that chair. That's a hard chair. I like a comfortable couch, just to sit back and talk to my friends. We don't carry our computers around anymore, or if we ever did. And I think that Bucky's Corner has always been a corner for the elderly, not for programs. And I disagree with this program.
I disagree with that, because we do have, with all due respect, we do have, there's a group of individuals that do sit there. There's 4 to 6 of them that do come in and sit there, not elderly by any means. One of them comes in because she has to be here for a reason, and she brings her computer, she puts it on her lap, but her lap gets really hot.
How old is she?
She is probably, I'm gonna guess 72?
Okay, I'm talking about the 80s, that's what I'm.
I have not seen anybody that is elderly in there.
Been there for 25 years.
I mean, just since the 5 months I've been here. There's basically a group of
All
yeah.
elderly people there.
Yeah, I mean, I've only been here 5 months, but the 5 months I've been here, I can name you the 5 people that sit there. And it is not easy to get out of. And like I said, I know there's been issues, but also too, other than 4 people, I'd love to have 12 to 16 people come and have a coffee, chit chat with each other, hang out, little cafe kind of thing. I want to put muffins out in the morning. I want to put Danish out. I want them to come in and, stop here
That's
and.
what they would come for.
Yeah.
Just that though. I'm sorry.
Well, no, because people are out there playing cards. Even before bingo, they want to play cards out there. They're waiting out there. There's no place for them to sit. Because when they're waiting to come in here for bingo, you've got 30 people, and they're just waiting, and there's no place for them to sit. you know, and basically, like I said, when you have two love seats, one person sitting on a love seat. Very seldom do two people smooshing together on a
So-
love seat.
You know, when I walk in here, and I'm not a user but I have, you know, the entrance is very welcoming, very homey, and the chair looks very institution-like, and I think it's taking away some of the character of the Igloo House that, you know, I don't necessarily care for the design. And you know, you mentioned chairs, like I have a business and I switched to a cool-looking chair. Oh my God, I had to replace the chairs again because they were hard, people are uncomfortable, and they're usually sitting. They're not as, my clients are physically active and they come to a workout. And the surface, how comfortable they are, even if they're sitting for 5 minutes, mattered a lot.
This is why I asked Vera to bring the chair here, so that everybody could sit in it and try it. Like I said, I know from just past experience, having a place for them to come sit down, some people bring their own lunch, and they have no place to sit and eat it out there. You know, some people like Marjan, or, you know, they want to just take a break, they can come out here and sit down and eat their lunch instead of, you know, being in there. Or, I mean, I know what, like I said, playing cards. We've got groups that want to play cards and cribbage. The round tables that we use here in the dining room, you can't use those for playing cards or cribbage. They're too vast, like, I mean, you're looking to me to find space for the programs we want here at the center. This is what I'm telling you would work for additional space, for additional people coming in. I mean, when we could have 16 people sitting out there, or even 12, if you had 3 tables of 4, and then, like I said, if we do have a program, we can put the 3 tables together and sit around and, you know, round table talk, or, you know, you're looking for space. That's my only space. That's the only space I have right now, is that space.
No, I hear you. So I hear you. You want to make it more
Usable space.
More usable space.
Yeah.
What I said was, when you come in, there's something
Warmth.
very warm
Yeah.
that it's very strong characteristic
Yeah.
to the Eagle House.
It's
And-
homey feeling.
And my question is, for you, like, I heard you, you want to add more space.
I
Yeah.
think-
Did you hear me? Like,
Yeah,
And-
but
and,
I
like,
think
are
the
you-
warmness comes from Pauline and Michelle and people that
well,
are here.
I just told you that is not my experience, and here we have someone else saying that's not our experience. I'm just asking you,
So when you walk in and see a couch, that's what makes you feel homey. But
Yeah,
are you
'cause it
coming
makes you
here
feel
to be
like you live
homey?
in your own.
Yes.
Can I make a suggestion, Madam Chair? There is something that lives between this and that lives between that.
yeah, possibly.
We're probably on like the most opposite ends of the spectrum right now.
Yeah.
I hear the concerns about being able to clean the upholstery, and I think the cleaning of the upholstery is incredibly valid. However, there is a product that lives between that and that you may be able to accomplish.
Yes.
So maybe it seems like some other options.
Yeah, and that's where I was, you know.
Yeah,
when
I
was looking for
sat
options.
in that. Pete had a meeting at the library. I sat in that for 5 minutes and I said, I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel at home. It's from the teen center. That was a red flag for me right away. That lives in the teen center at the library. We need to maintain, I feel, we need to maintain, this is a home away from home. That's how people perceive this place. That doesn't say to me home away from
And a
home.
library chair is not to socialize, it's to go there and do some studying or homework.
So,
You don't see people, 7 or 8 people sitting around those kinds of chairs, talking to each other. That's for
And the
work.
library.
Maybe the
has
teens
to-
you.
Yeah, the teens.
yes.
Not the
So,
teens you do, but
Madam Town Manager, I agree, let's look for other options if that's possible. Does everybody?
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole
think
field
that-
called
Can I make a
design.
Yes,
I'm sure.
yes, Jane.
And I think there's a halfway, where I was going, you know, there's something that exists that is very ingrained into the identity of this building, into what it is. And I think we just need to strive to try to maintain that and achieve some of your goals while maintaining some of the, what is very distinct to this building.
Right, I think it depends on programming. What do you want for programming depends on what type of furniture you'll have.
Jane has it.
We went and saw the chairs, and I'm concerned about, kind of the health, and,
Yeah, that's-
that's not the right word. But anyway.
Sanitary.
Sanitary issues with that area. And then I went online, and I was checking to see, I Googled furniture for, one of them was assisted living, but then for also senior centers. Man, there wasn't much. It wasn't pretty, but, I didn't really delve into it.
That's not old out there. They're not that old.
No, but they're not clean.
Yeah, if there's,
Weekly.
it needs to be something that's washable. It absolutely does.
But, you can reupholster, well, that's a big
Well,
cost
yeah.
itself, but if you had something that's a vinyl, is it still gonna be homey?
Comfy, yeah.
Well,
That's it.
I know, I hope you can do what Madam Tom Anders suggests, is to just take a step back and explore other options. I think
I agree.
I think that's all we're, it's to balance.
Just as long as everyone understands that in the meantime, I can't do programs out there. I can't schedule anything, and like I said, that's as long as.
Which is moving on to the next item,
Yes.
which is, we have rooms up there that we can't get at. So how do we get an elevator so that we can use space upstairs that we don't have access to? How do we accomplish that? Is that a question for you? A question for you, a question for the fiscal '27 budget. How do we do that? Do we go, if we can't do it in the building, can we get an outside elevator? But we have wasted space in this building. We're talking about this wasted space, which is tiny, which isn't going to accomplish a lot, but we have rooms upstairs that we need to get to. So how do we do that?
So I don't think that we are looking at an elevator, because an elevator requires a shaft,
Yep.
and the costs are incredible. That said, just like there's something that lives between that chair and those couches, there's something that lives between the lift at Town Hall and what a lift looks like in 2025.
Yep.
The process by which you would get that going is to engage the facilities director, who would obtain quotes for budgeting purposes, and it would get submitted in the fall. We haven't announced the capital submission request, but it will be submitted in August, most likely, August, September, for consideration by the CPC. So if that is something that this body would like for the facilities director and director to explore, she probably needs to know that sooner than later to get that going with the facilities director for a quote, because I think it's been kind of looked at, and I think the initial costs have, on back of a napkin, are quite prohibitive. That said, if you want actual consideration, we need something from a vendor to show what those actual costs are, and that might help you to, as a body, before even submitting to CPC, to make a determination of that capital request against the space, the cost versus the added space, and whether that is something that makes sense or doesn't make sense. At this point, I don't have the answer to tell you that, but that would be the process.
On the new buildings that in the past, I think that was quoted about $500,000.
I know.
For the lift. But that, it would be a different, it wouldn't be the same kind of.
Okay.
That would just go 3 floors, it's,
So it's less?
I think it would be less than the lift.
The most popular elevator company
The veterans.
that
Oh,
does this is
Yeah, there used to be the
No,
veterans.
The
Lula.
Lula lift.
Lula.
It's limited
Yeah.
application.
Yes, that's correct.
Right. And they do have a company in Leominster that installs them. And the average, I looked up the average for 2 stops, which would be floor level and second. So that is their economy model. The average price for installation and the cost is $60,000 to $70,000.
That's
That, if that is the cost,
Yeah.
I think that this is a viable project. I'm just gonna say that. If that's the cost. If the cost
That sounds.
is in the hundreds of thousands, I think that you wanna look at
It's an
it.
average cost, and this came from their website.
Okay,
And
There's gonna be prices higher, there's gonna be prices lower, depending on,
will they install in the public building?
yes, this is what this is. Not home, it's public,
Public,
commercial.
That one I found a great, it's just like a tube, all you need to do is cut a hole in the floor or something, that's it.
This is basically a tool,
But
the
they wouldn't-
economy
They-
model.
they
But
wouldn't do it in
put
a
the
public
public
building.
buildings, because it's not wide enough for wheelchairs.
Well, let's go back.
It won't hold a wheelchair, but this 60 to 70,000, you can put one person in it,
Yeah.
and they'll go up to the second floor.
did our public have a comment?
If I might.
Yes, you might. And you may.
Thank you very much. We're looking at, we own a home and we've got to move between floors. And we've been on a year-long project. We've got quotes now. We've looked at the usage. There's small rooms upstairs. And the average total amount of time means that you don't need a real big one. You need something that's going to handle 2 people or a wheelchair in person.
Wheelchair.
We've just received our quotes, and we're looking at about $47,000 for the 2-person one. And it's all inclusive, and they do engineering drawings for you, they give permits. There's an ongoing cost of about $800 a year for inspection. I knowing the size of the rooms up there, Deb, I can't see that you couldn't make 2 trips and fill those rooms up very quickly with the elevator. Plus, we have the stairs and a lot of people going up there. So, and from an elevator perspective, I know the Lulu's a very good top end, and they're commercial grade, really are. And you're gonna, I'm seeing numbers. I saw a number around 160 for one of them. You're right, they cut the hole up through the floor, you get 2 rails, the car goes up and down, it's electric cable driven, and it's doable for a small application, small room application. But I would keep looking and realizing you can do that for the $60,000 range. That's what my budget was. And I look at that as for homeowners, is a better alternative than having to move because you got 2 floors. And you go pay a realtor, and you're gonna stop 50 grand, you're gonna disrupt your life. So there's a lot of potential for one. And I have a good friend who has a company that will do that for people who are homebound. Colleen?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And,
Okay, so, yeah.
I think people need to be aware too, but before we will be able to do something with a Lula lift, we need to have an architectural study done. We did have an architect come in. He saw a lot of issues as far as the age of the building, the structure of the building, where it would be able to go. It was very, very limited. And also the stairs that we currently have are not up to code. So, like, we'd have to pay an architect to come in and do a study first before we could proceed with anything. And the architect studies are a good price tag themselves.
Those stairs are treacherous.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're bad.
Well, do we want to proceed with this? I think we should.
I think we should.
I think we should, how do we make this official? We send an email to,
No, I think you're making your intent known to your director, who will then have to work with the capital process and facility structure to get that going.
All right,
Well, let's make a motion. I'll make a motion that we do a study of this.
I second that, yeah.
any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right,
I'll suggest moving that, since the next action is from Deb and the facilities director, to move that item into the director's report so we can get absolutely the agenda, so you can get a report about where things are going.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, Sanford Seniors is just on there, whenever that happens, just so you know what's.
Well, we had a meeting this morning.
Okay, oh, well, all right,
Yeah.
that's timely.
Went very well. We're going to basically put some procedures, policies, requirements in line, put out exactly what the program is, how it's funded, what its intent is, and then also too, we've been also informed that the DPW will have sand available for others. And so it's going to be very tightened up this year. They'll be able to make their request between the end of October, the beginning of November. And then there will be a deadline. You request during that time and it will be delivered, but it's also a check for your fire detectors. It's to check on you and your safety as well.
Will seniors who have the ability be able to come and pick up sand?
No, they would be able to pick it up at the DPW.
At the DPW?
Yes,
Yes.
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 Yes,
Okay.
yeah. But they're not gonna, we've had people go to the fire station.
No,
and
no,
get a
I
bucket.
understand.
No.
Okay, so do they need to sign up as well? No, they
No,
can
they
just
would
go
just
and
go
get
to
it
the
themselves?
Yeah.
Okay,
What hours does DPW have that available?
We haven't spoke about hours yet.
okay, but that would be seniors who
That
are
would be in the
able to do
information,
it?
yeah, when we put the information out.
Okay, all right, so that'll be available in the fall, all that information will be available in the fall. Okay, so I should have brought this up during the minutes, because it's not an agenda item, but we talked about the kiosk. How's that coming?
We're waiting to see what the hours are gonna be and all of that before we put it into a board.
Okay,
So we want to make sure everything is set as of July 1st before we send it off to print.
okay. All right, over to you, director's report.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. So we've got July coming up. Very quickly, the newsletter is almost done, but where is it? We have some trips coming up in the future too, which people were interested in. The Gloucester Harbor Cruise is going to take place on Wednesday, July 23rd. We'll also be going to the Isabel Stewart Gardner Museum in September. And in November, we're going to go to Davenport to see Absolute Queen tribute. So we're going to have that going on. And I jumped. First of all, the top of my list here, I'm going to say this very nicely. I'd like to thank the COA board and so many out of Lunenburg for reaching out to me after the passing of my dad. Overwhelming, the flowers, the donations, the cards, the prayers were bountiful, and myself and my family truly appreciate all of you. Thank you. Okay. Collaboration meeting. Like I said, we did have a meeting last night with the Parks and Rec, us and library. And the teen center was also invited because some of theirs overlap with Parks and Rec, but they were unable to make it to that meeting. So that is going very well. We've already scheduled our next meeting and we'll continue to collaborate together. Van rides. Van rides are at no cost till the end of June. I did talk to Carrie Connors at MARC, and she stated that rides would continue to be at no cost for the foreseeable future. So that was great news. Yep. We do have some new programs that we've put into place. One of them is Crafts with Caring. Last month they did beautiful decorated mason jars. This month they're doing alcohol ink on coasters. It's on tiles that will be coasters. And in July they're painting canvas bags. Also, and these classes are the second Wednesday of every month at 3 o'clock. We do have, I want to talk to you after this about the adjustment of hours. But if we do adjust the hours, we do have some things that we have already in place if it happens. And one of them is legal one-on-one sessions with attorney Philip Archiacano of Archdeacon Law Associates. The first session he'll hold will be in September, and it'll be on trusts, revocable and irrevocable trusts. You know, what are they? Do you want them? Do you not want them? Which kind do you want? Why do you need them? Kind of thing. He'll do another one after that, you know, and he'll continue on doing these monthly legal 101s for us, which is great. He also is available too, to do some 101, like 30-minute consultations with our seniors. So he's been a great asset to us. We're also looking to plan a 6-week session on healing herbs. Jeff Cote, who lives in Townsend, studied Chinese medicine in China, and he teaches Tai Chi, Qigong, a bunch of other things. But he would do a 6-week session on healing herbs. What herbs do you use for what? How do you use them? What do you do with them? All of that. It's very in-depth, but it's very interesting. I'm also hoping to bring Zumba in the evenings to the younger seniors, people that work. Zumba is very high energy, and if you're not a younger senior, you can do it, yay you, because I can't. It's very, very, a lot, Zumba. And then, like I said, as the healthcare advisory group suggested, we want to reach out as a resource to caregivers and have these resource meetings going on. And then for outdoor fun, we have summer concerts. We have 2 scheduled currently. One is Steve Fiedler from Leominster. He's going to do flashbacks from the 60s, 70s out back here. And then on August 20th, we have Summer Songs with the Sunshine Boys. And I just want to remind everybody out there, we do have bocce, shuffleboard, cornhole. So if you are out with your friends, come here and utilize it. We also have 2 passes to the New England Botanic Garden at Tower Hill in West Boylston that are Boylston. And each pass admits 3 people. So if you were to utilize 2 passes, 6 of you can go to Tower Hill. And then that just brings me, in your packets you have a sheet that has some hours on it. What I'm looking to do is to increase the hours we're open by 4.5 hours. Yeah. So what we're looking at doing would be having the 2 late evenings. Now that we have a meal site manager that's going to be full-time, we want to have a dinner. So we want to have an evening meal for individuals to come to that, but we also have programs that we want to reach out to our younger seniors, or even our seniors who are working, because a lot of seniors are still working. So we want to be able to have, if they need to speak with, somebody, they have the opportunity. Just a personal example, I needed to get a birth certificate for someone, and the town hall where I live is open 8 to 4. Well, I work 7:30 to 3:30, so that's not happening. So it's being able to be available to those people, even if they need to call and ask about something, that we're here. So this is what I'm looking at.
Can you just give
Yes.
us current hours?
On the back. I knew you'd ask. So, and a lot of too is reaching out to those seniors who are working, those seniors who are younger. They become your volunteers also. They're the people that are coming up, and they're the people that are going to direct us in the direction of what they're going to want as they age.
So it looks based on the schedule gave, the late dinner would be on Wednesday.
Correct.
We're already open late on Wednesday.
Yeah, we just don't have a full-time meal site manager yet.
Right.
When she starts, Wednesdays will be a dinner.
So when I advocate, because I was in FinCom,
Yep.
strongly for increasing the hours on for the meal site manager.
Yes.
One of the things that you said that I supported, and I repeated, was we would be able to offer lunches on Fridays to, because if there's a Monday holiday, we don't see the seniors until.
So Meals on Wheels, we're going to deliver Meals on Wheels on Fridays. Currently, we do not.
Okay.
Fridays, we have Veterans Breakfast, we have Memory Cafe, we have other food events in the mornings.
Okay, so,
But Meals on Wheels, we don't deliver on Fridays.
so that will still happen?
That will, yeah, we absolutely, yes.
So we're going from one day of 6:30 to 2 days?
Correct.
And what does the 3:30 to 5 o'clock does?
What do you mean?
So I hear of having late nights.
Yeah.
What is the goal increasing the 3:30 on Tuesday and Thursday to 5 p.m.?
To be able to have more programs, like right now, tap dance is a half an hour class, because that's all the time. If we extend the hours, that amount of time, they can be here for a full hour. Other programs also, writers group, programs that, are half an hour would actually be able to stay for the hour, but we'd also be able to, if there's other programs we can put in there as well.
What are we losing by reducing Friday?
Nothing.
What do you mean nothing?
We have men's pool Friday afternoons, and they would be moving up.
We have had events here on Fridays that, it's usually the day that I can make it. I don't know. I hear you on increasing the 6:30 on Monday. I don't see a lot of from the operations that I've seen, the Friday at 11:30 seems harsh to how I see, and that's me. Do you have other opinions on?
I don't understand what you're saying, though.
Well,
Because
11:30.
we come here, the women's club meet here on Fridays, once a month.
What time?
11:30, we have to get here at 11 to prepare everything. The women come at 12:30.
So you would be
And they're
missing
here till
that.
like 3 o'clock.
So you'd be losing that spot.
I don't know, would we?
The
It's
women's
once a
club.
month.
Yeah, the women's club come, but they only go October to April.
I mean, if there's
and then
something
we
that's
start
once a
again.
month, I'm salaried. I'm gonna be here 60 to 80 hours a week anyways. So, I can always stay. So I'm not gonna, like I said, right now, Friday afternoons is very quiet. During the week is very, very busy. Even as far as Monday, setting up for today. I mean, we were here very late last night, just getting things ready, because we can't set up till after a program. So, like I said, this would add an additional 4.5 hours of programming, which, I'm looking at Diane, because tap dancing would be able to stay for an hour. So like I said, this would add more programming time.
Hi. Question. When we advertise for these businesses, do they pay us something?
They do not pay us, they pay the LPI, which is Liturgical Press, who prints our newsletters. We do not pay for our newsletters. They get their money from the advertisers.
And could you refresh my memory on what Philip Arcelato is going to be doing?
He's going to be doing Legal 101. So the first class he'll do would be Monday night in September, and he would do on trusts.
And what time would that be?
It would probably be 5 to 7, 5 to 6:30.
And so do you feel that our seniors would be, is that a good time for our seniors to come out?
For younger seniors, yes, because they're working, they get out of work at 4 or 5, they can come over. Like I said, older seniors, we can always do a program during the day. We're here during the day.
What is a younger senior?
Me.
No,
I will be 62 in July. I'm a younger senior, but I work all day. I can't go to a floral arrangement during the day because I'm at work. I can't go to anything during the day because I'm at work. So the younger seniors would be able to, come to different things.
So back to Philip.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Left to go. So Philip Varsity is a problem for me. And I don't know if it's related to what you're doing, but I was a tenant of him for 22 years. And he was nothing very difficult to work with. The reason that I was unable to sell my business when I retired is because he would not renew my license, where I had worked with his dad.
So I think right now, I don't want to get too much into this because it's kind of personal issues. I have dealt with him for a couple of years on just a professional level as far as coming into the center and just doing these classes and giving information out. Nothing, like I said, it's, you know, they're not being hired on by him. It's just a service he offers. I mean,
My
there's,
history with him is that he
Yeah.
hasn't been supportive of Lunenburg, and that's my only issue in this stuff. It is personal, but
yeah,
he has done nothing.
I mean, this would be a way for him to
Absolutely
be
for
supportive.
Lunenburg.
Elsie's done it too.
Is what?
Elsie's done it too, and you know, we worry about doing referencing people for seniors to work with, and I, having had business experience with him, I would not recommend him, and I can say that because I did business with him, and I would not recommend him to do business with anyone that I know. So I would be curious, I would be concerned about putting someone in front of our
Yeah.
you know, our seniors, our clients, someone who I don't necessarily trust to do business with.
Okay, we can discuss this. I just know, like I said, the reason I reached out for him is I've been using him for a couple of years in Clinton, and he has been nothing but helpful to the seniors in Clinton and has given us some very good, solid advice, and we've appreciated his time and his donation to our seniors. I actually thought this would be wonderful because, like I said,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I can give you different names of local attorneys that do similar work. Rob Bowen, from the select board member.
Yes.
A lot of people have dealt with him. So anyway, so
Yeah, we will get it.
it's not a personal thing. I think for Elena and I, I wouldn't trust him to, and he can come talk to me whenever he wants. Happy to do it. It's not personal, it's a business thing where I wouldn't trust him to do business with anyone.
There's something personal. There was always a huge pothole just as you went into the post office. And I called the DPW, and they said that Philip owns the parking lot. So we have to deal with him. And I go and get to my mail every day, so whacking the parking in the hole every day, and I never heard back from him after 3-4 letters.
You sent him letters and you never heard back?
No.
I never heard back.
Well, we can,
I just don't think we should
It's not
make
fun.
somebody's character on local cable
No, I
TV.
Well, again, it's not for me,
Yeah.
it's my business experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
okay, back to these hours.
Excuse me, one more thing. The town concerts are held in front of the Passios building. And Kayla will agree with me, it's a terrible place to have these concerts. You can't hear them well because of the traffic that goes by, the way they are placed, you can't see through the big columns of stone on each side, and you have to sit across the road in order to watch it. The concert should be here. And so this is a perfect place to use our pavilion for the concerts. I asked Steve Archambault about it, who's the director, and he said that he'd be glad to come over here, but he already had signed up with the town, who's this part of it here. That's something I think we should reach out to. And he was going to try to have some alternate concert over here this summer, but.
All the advertising, I just saw all the advertising says there.
I don't think it changed.
Yeah, no, you can't change this year.
No,
To do the concerts,
Next year.
it's far more comfortable place.
Next year.
Acoustically accurate place to do some music.
all right,
That'll bring a lot of people to this building that will not really be here.
so for next year, because all the advertising says that it's in front of Passios for this year. Back to the hours.
Yeah, and like I said, the hours are basically to, like I said, bring in our younger seniors, because they are our volunteers, they are our future, they are, right now not being taken care of as they should be. So,
Any other comments on these hours? Okay,
I don't like it. I know you gave hypotheticals about what we can do to change, business hours. I'm thinking of changing business hours in the business. I would want to see much more specific plans and versus to what would you like to do, how are we going to accomplish, and, get an idea from, our customers, how do they feel about it. We can, maybe do a quick survey, a paper survey.
Well, like I said, the Neshoba Board of Health would come back here.
No, I
They'd have
hear you.
support. There'd be, like I said, we could have,
That was good.
like I said, I just, I was tasked to bring programs back, get people in here, get people in the door, and, be the director, and this is what I feel would work.
May I say something? How about we try it for a period and see how it goes?
My opinion is, as long as we're not losing hours, I'm not against it. I like adding some hours in the evenings. We've been trying to get younger people in here. We're not losing hours. My big thing is once you lose hours, they're gone. They are gone. So we are actually adding some hours here. Let's see what happens in the evening if we get some additional people in here in these evenings and we're getting programs. Let's try it, as Jane said. If there were not Friday, I'd like to see what the Friday afternoon programming was that we are losing. If we're just having pool.
So we had coffee with the chief, 9 to 10, meditation,
Yeah,
8 to
well,
9.
just, if it was just men's pool,
We
then,
have the women's club, we have on Fridays.
well, the
And a
building,
lot of ladies
the
come.
building can be open, that's not a
Right.
COA program, correct?
Right.
I believe that we can have the building open for another, and I guess that's worked out with whatever security needs to happen.
Yeah, I think that's something that the programs happen in buildings that aren't open
Right,
every day.
right, so I think if that can be
Does
worked
that-
out, because I know
We
we've
have
had
50
meetings.
ladies that come here.
We've had meetings in this building when it wasn't a COA function. So I think if
Judy.
that particular thing can be worked out,
I will come work the women's club. I will be here.
Because we moved from the United Parish over
right,
there,
right.
and we came here. Those ladies, we had like 20 people, now we have 50,
Right.
because they come to this building.
Yeah.
Right.
It's warm, it's inviting, and they love it.
Well, that's great.
And it's all Lunenburg ladies.
If the women's club is here on Fridays, that's terrific.
It is.
It's just once a month and I will be here.
So, yeah,
Only through October, we don't have any from June, July, and August.
so
But we're here the
I'm
rest
sure
of
we
the
can
time.
work that out in
Yep.
the intervening months. I know there are meetings here. We've had master plan here, we've had the 300th here.
So it'd be
Anybody-
great, as we test it, if we can come up with, data that we're gonna assess, that we can assess upon. It's just hard.
I think we need to give it a long enough.
So our
Especially
data-
with
Yes.
summer coming.
Yes.
Because a lot of people are busy in the summer and may not attend as much. So I don't want
Right.
to just test it June, July, or June,
Right.
July, and August and say, oh, this isn't gonna work because of the
Right.
timing of it. So I think that test needs to at least go through September when people are back.
Well,
Right.
You know what I'm
yes.
saying? To be fair to everybody. I want to be fair to Deb. I want to be fair to the people that have concerns.
Well, my thing was, actually, my biggest concern was actually when we go into the dark months of the year. Because most, I know you're trying to acquire your clients, and I like that. But after 3:30 during the winter months, it's usually dark, a lot of people don't get out of their house, so,
Some centers do summer hours and winter hours.
yeah. And so those are good thoughts you have, like, is there, so it would just be great to get data points that we can analyze and,
Right, because,
Nothing stops you
I mean,
from
the staff will say themselves, if nobody's coming after 5, we don't want to be here either. know,
So
so
you
like I
could
said.
change it again. If you get
Yeah.
into winter and find out and say
Yes.
this isn't working, it could still be changed.
Absolutely.
And we'll have the numbers that prove it, could you have?
We'll just have to change Pete's board.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, as long as we're not losing hours, that's my big fear. I do not want to ever get in a position where we are losing hours that this building is open, because then you will never get them back.
And this looks like
So
we're gaining 4.5
You're gaining hours,
which is
that's
wonderful.
wonderul. So let's give it a shot. Anybody have a problem with that?
No.
Okay. All right. Eagle House supporters, we finally get to you.
I just have very few things. The first thing we're doing, and it's already started in the month of June, at Hanford, we have a bag, usable bag. So please, if anyone hasn't, put out at Hanford. They're $2.50 for a bag. Eagle House gets $1, and every little bit helps for fundraising towards raising money.
Are there specific bags?
I don't believe so. I think they're just, I haven't got mine yet, sorry, but,
I was confused when I was there the other day, because there's so many different bags.
Right.
There's the little bag that they sell for 99 cents. It's
Yeah.
not that bag.
No,
There were
it's
two other bags.
This one will cost you $2.50 for the bag.
Okay.
And then $1 of that will come to the.
Okay, so make sure you get the one for $2.50.
$2.50.
Okay. All right, everybody out there on television land, get the $2.50 bag at Hannaford.
And it's bigger than the 99 cent bag.
All right.
And I'm sure you can always ask somebody there.
Does it say?
It does say community help on the bag.
Okay. Community help on the bag. All right.
It says Hannaford House.
Okay. Hannaford helps. Get the Hannaford Help one.
Oh, that's it, Hannaford helps?
Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing is, unfortunately, we had one of our members resign because it was just too much for her, Deb Gonsalvo. But we are looking at interviewing or voting on next week. Lynn Walsh has stepped up to help us. So I think that she will be a great asset to the team. So we're really looking forward to having her on the team. So unofficially, officially, she's going to be.
Fantastic. Thank you.
And that's all I have.
And thank you for sitting through this very long meeting.
Oh, no.
Appreciate it.
I enjoy hearing everything. So.
Okay. Do we have any notes? And thank you for everything you're doing. I mean, this is amazing how your team has stepped up. And please thank them for us.
I will.
Any notes and communications? Okay. Any other board comment? Then that's not BORED.
Yeah. I have a comment.
Wait, Jane, and then Pete.
Debbie, I would like to help you in terms of finding furniture, because one of the things that's really important to me, you know, given my husband who has trouble getting out of chairs, is that whatever we get has arms. You really, for the elderly, they need that. So, you know, and I think we need to find a compromise, but I kind of liked the chairs, I'll have to say, the table idea.
I found them very comfortable, and the tables are pedestal tables, so wheelchairs can pull
Right,
right
you
up
can-
underneath
yeah.
them. And they are heavy as heck, and a lot of seniors will do this to get up, and they do not tip. They were
Yeah.
solid.
Yeah.
So I like that too.
So, anyway, if you need any help.
I would love that. Thank you.
All right, Pete?
I'd just like to thank all 4 directors that I've worked with in the senior center, about 50 different members of the COA during this time. It's been the most enjoyable part of my life in Lunenburg.
Right, me too.
I think we've done more for people that need us more, and done it pleasantly. I can remember any time we had angry disputes at our meetings, always cooperated. It took a while sometimes to get a full 11-member board, but this, I think what we do in this town is important to what any other community does, maybe even more so, because the people that need it the most, we supply. And so, thank you.
Thank you, Pete and Judy. We really appreciate you. And after we have an adjournment, there are goodies over there.
So we're eating in here?
Right there.
Okay.
Our prospective members, you're invited to join us. And do I hear a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, let's get to it.